appropriate for all audiences. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us here once again on the Low Fact Podcast. And as we promised last time, this time we will come back to the whole first-hand knowledge discussion, the ongoing, meandering discussion of first-hand knowledge that I can't remember for the life of me what we've talked about. So because of that, we could end up talking about the exact same things that we talked about the last time we talked about. In which, and you know, funny anecdote, that happens to me a lot. For example, I will have a particular reaction to something, some statement, or watching some show, or whatever. And if that statement comes back at me from somebody else, or a different person, or whatever, or if I see a rerun from a show, and the exact same sequence, you know, in that rerun, what got a reaction out of me the first time will get the exact same reaction out of me every time. It's
like you're watching it for the first time.
Almost.
But you have such a good memory that you can probably remember what's coming up.
Yeah.
See, for me, it's literally like the first time.
Yeah.
When I rewatch something after a couple of years because I forget it.
So anyway, we're coming back to the first-hand knowledge
First-hand knowledge.
And so was there something that you wanted to kind of add to that? Because, you know, the starting point really is I think many of us believe that our first-hand knowledge trumps everything.
Oh my goodness, this is a recap, isn't it? This is going way back. Yeah, I think my view on first-hand knowledge hasn't changed, which is that I think I tend to favor first-hand knowledge. And so when people say, like, when people say I've gone through it, so I know more about it, I don't tend to have an adverse reaction to that. Like, I tend to sort of say, okay,
yeah, I mean,
I get that.
Well, at that point, what can you really do? Right?
Well, you can't sit there and say, you know what?
Well, this is different, or whatever. Because really, it's up to that person, if it is different, to understand or to recognize that there is a difference. Now, just because you recognize that there is a difference doesn't necessarily mean your understanding is going to be, you know, enlarged, I guess, for lack of a better word. But
so you think that somebody, you know what, I'm doing a bad job of listening right now. I have this tendency to just jump in.
I think that the tendency for us to believe what we have personally gone through, or what we have personally learned ourselves, or observed ourselves, is the best teacher. And in a sense, it is, because those are the lessons that you learn the best, because the immediacy of all the ramifications, everything is right there. You're right in it.
But this assumes that you're learning, doesn't it?
It does.
First-hand knowledge assumes that you're able to observe your own situation and learn from it, whereas there's plenty of people, myself included, in this basket, that I don't think I'm particularly, what's the word,
astute, intuitive?
No, just like I'm not a deep thinker. Like, so sometimes I will make the same mistake a number of times. So is in that respect, is first-hand knowledge advantage? Is first-hand knowledge something that's good for me? Is it something good if you're not learning?
The idea,
if you're not learning, or you're not a deep thinker that's sitting there and thinking, well, let me take a step back and look at this objectively and see how I can do this different next time. I mean,
well, if you do the exact same things over and over and over again, and each time the same thing happens and you don't necessarily learn from it, then at that point, your idea that the first-hand knowledge or your personal experience informs your decision making, or should inform your decision making, might not be the best thought to pop.
Yeah, because I feel like there are people that sit there and say, well, you don't, like, where I do get annoyed is when people say something like, oh, well, you don't have children, so you wouldn't understand, or,
Right.
you're not married, or you haven't been married, so you really can't understand what married life is like.
And these are all things that have been said before, oddly enough.
Those are the things that get thrown out frequently.
Yes.
Frequently.
Yes. But on the same token, if you see the same things happening from the people that claim to be in this situation, then isn't it possible that even though you haven't gone through it personally, just the mere fact that you've seen the same things play out over and over and over again with different people, wouldn't that give you a perspective that is one that should be listened to? Or, not so easily discounted, at the very least?
I would think yes, but from personal experience, I find that my friends, for example, who have children, I don't think they really give much credence to my opinion.
And also,
About
if the shoe's on the other foot, it's the same way, right? If you've gone through something and someone else hasn't, and okay, so the other person's observed the stuff, but what do they know?
Well, I've had the experience personally where I've talked to my friends about issues with their kids, or issues with their kids have come up, and I've, rendered advice.
Unsolicited?
Unsolicited.
Well, I think that's probably where the wheels came off.
Like, oh, maybe you should do this, or maybe you should do that, or
Well, no, because at that point, you might also, to the listener, you might also be kind of rendering an opinion about their parenting style, which
Right.
might not be the case, but
Right.
could very well be interpreted as so.
yeah,
Because you're saying, well, maybe you should do this, and at that point, the answer is like, what the hell do you know?
yeah,
I get that.
yeah.
I mean, I'm
And
pretty.
that's usually the way it goes.
Well, look, it happens to all of us.
And it's not.
Things are-
9 times out of 10, I'm not sitting there saying they're a bad parent.
Perspective is a lot. I mean, let's not make it seem like it isn't. Perspective is a lot. Now, is your perspective reality? That might not be the case, but it is a lot. I mean, there's a lot of things that you have to unravel, and we're not machines. We're not emotionless machines. We have emotions. We have all kinds of things come up. Some people call it baggage, but it's really just life experiences. When your life experiences come up and someone, like, oh, this is what's happening, and someone who seems like they're not in that zone, because I'm really, really disliking the word bubble lately. If they're not, if the person you're talking to isn't in that zone, the same zone or, area that you are, then yeah, of course, it's very easy to sit there and lash out. I mean, a lot of times when people are looking for advice, all they're really looking for is for someone to listen to you and not say anything.
Yeah.
Of course, when you do that, the people are like, say something. I want to hear what you think.
Well, and then at that point,
even then, you might want to take a step back and not say so, because they just want to hear something.
right.
More than likely, they want to hear what they're thinking in somebody else's voice. But so
Yeah, it's a hard one. I mean, but I think, giving the unsolicited advice, not a very good idea.
there you have it, folks. Let's try to refrain.
All right, thanks for tuning in to Low Fat Podcast. You can find us on YouTube. Just search Low Fat. You can also find us on Facebook, facebook.com/Low Fat Podcast. If you want to chat to us, send us some comments, or have us talk about some things, just send an email to lowfatpodcast@gmail.com. You can also follow us on our Twitter and Instagram pages at Low Fat Podcast. And also check out Andy's pages where he mixes our beats, Twitter and Instagram at Fantasy Beat, and you can also find his wicked ass shit on SoundCloud at Artificial.